store all of your credentials, your license information, and your work history. Everything can be PDF'd to turn into like an actual paper resume for you as well. But there is a checklist to go through if you are planning to travel. It'll be your personal information, how we get in touch with you, work history, your license information, certifications. We do require 2 references to be completed before we're able to submit you, and then education information. So we recommend completing your profile as soon as possible, just because that will set you up and be ready for traveling. And then just generally speaking, my recommendation is always to get on your references as soon as you can. I know it can get awkward when you're looking to leave a place and you don't necessarily want them to know that you're going, but the reference piece of it is the only part that you don't have control over. So you can request them super quickly, but we're still going to be waiting on somebody else to fill it out. So just as soon as you're comfortable letting people know that you're planning to travel is when I recommend getting those references done, even if you're not planning to travel for a little while yet. And then next step in the process, you don't have to have your entire profile filled out to look at your matches. However, if you're looking to actually apply, like I mentioned, we do require a complete profile to do that. But you're able to browse your matches. So matches are based off of filters that you can set. So you can set your shift, days, nights, or if you don't care. If there's any specific locations, whether that's a city or a state that you're interested in traveling to, your specialty. So if you are a nurse who's got a background in multiple areas, you can filter out if you only want to travel PICU, but you have NICU experience, things like that. And then the final one is your start date. So if you're not able to start until August, we're only going to show you jobs that are going to consider an August start date. And you're able to update those filters at any point in time. And you can also not looking, and then we won't send you messages with new, or send you emails with new matches in them.
No spam, guys.
We've been there. We don't want that for anyone. So once your profile is complete, our team reviews it and you will get an intro to your nurse advocate. Most of us are best at responding via text. We're a bunch of millennials, so forgive us there. But we can be reached by text, email, or phone. Essentially, we will reach out, let you know if we're needing anything from you to complete your profile or say, hey, you're good to go. And then once you are requesting jobs, we'll reach out and let you know if we need an updated reference or anything else, or just let you know, hey, everything looks good, we got you submitted. We do work on a 9-to-5 schedule, and that's based on the time zone that we live in. So that could be a little bit variable depending on who your nurse advocate is. But we've got a team that works in the evenings and on weekends, and monitors our online chat and our main phone line to see if there's anything urgent. And that team also will review job requests and get you submitted even during those off hours. So we're prioritizing getting you submitted, but there might be a little delay in me letting you know that you're in for a job. And then always helpful to know if you have something urgent that needs to be addressed, feel free to give us a call, leave us a message, text us, say, hey, I've got something I need to talk to you about, and we'll absolutely get to you as quickly as we can. Okay, so once we find that perfect job, get your contract signed and settled, we kick into onboarding mode. Again, a lot of us traveled. We understand that that is probably the most painful part of the process. And so we've worked really hard to make it the least painful as it can be. That starts with being able to use your existing health documents. So if you've got anything on hand, whether it's immunization records, if you've had titers drawn, if you had a physical in the last year, things like that, you can upload those to your profile at any time. And we're only going to send you for the things that are absolutely needed for your assignment. So if we can accept your titers, we aren't going to make you get blood drawn just to say that we're the ones who did it. We have an awesome team of onboarding specialists that'll be in close touch with you during that onboarding process and make sure that you're teed up and ready to go and set for that first day of your assignment.
It just makes for a much smoother process, guys. I know that sometimes it's tedious to do all the little things, but the easier that you make it on yourself in the beginning, the smoother every other process after that is. Just FYI, because I've been through this.
And then once you're on assignment and working, we have an awesome support team in place. So Britt mentioned the care team. That is a group of people that's always monitoring our main line. They are an absolute wealth of knowledge when it comes to quick questions like, how do I complete my time card? Where do I log X, Y, and Z? And then we also have a group called our clinical success partners. They're a nurse group as well. Most of them also traveled, and they'll be your go-to if you run into anything where you're concerned about safety, there's some sort of incident that happened, you have an emergency come up, or on the flip side, and the things that we like to hear about is you're having an awesome time and you want to extend your assignment and good stuff. But they're there to help you navigate all of those potential issues, good or bad, that come up while you're on assignment. So you're being supported by a nurse through every step of the way. The onboarding is kind of the one caveat, but you still got access to your nurse advocate as well. So definitely nurse supported from start to finish. And we, like I said, most of us traveled. And so we're happy to help answer questions, jump in, provide our insights, or really just be a sounding board if you need one. And I already kind of alluded to this, but you do have an awesome care team in your corner. On the screen, there's a nurse advocate, there's some compliance people, there's our clinical success team. And like I said, they are at your disposal 24/7, 365. We're always able to be reached. If it's off hours in the middle of the night, it might take a second to get back to you, but we do have an emergency line that's open for those emergencies while you're on assignment.
All right, the Q&A portion is open if you guys would like to just throw anything in there and I'll float them to Ashely. The pre-RSVP questions, I'll go ahead and read out right now while you guys are typing yours in. Two of the things that I did want to mention are someone asked about corrections and LPN. Those are great suggestions, and we'll definitely float those to our jobs team so then we can look to see if we can get some of those facilities and things like that in. Okay. Does Trusted provide travel reimbursement?
We actually don't. We know that a lot of companies do, and it's something we do a little bit differently. So kind of the rationale behind that is that's not a one-size-fits-all number. And that money for those reimbursements typically is pulled off the top of your pay package and renamed something else essentially for marketing purposes, but it was yours to begin with. And so our philosophy is that we never want to withhold money that you might not need to recoup later on. And the best way that we can be most transparent is just including that in your pay package from the get-go to be paid over the duration of your contract rather than being earmarked for something specific. So that's also our policy when it comes to modules that are due prior to your start date and certifications that are usually
Ashely? Did it? Okay, she is frozen. Okay, thanks guys. Sometimes I don't know if it's just me or it's good to have you guys there. Some of the other questions while she's away, because I can ask some of them or answer some of them. It is not hard to get an assignment as a first-time traveler. This was a previous question asked as well about Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure she's okay. But yeah, it's not hard. You just should have at least 2 years of experience. That's what we always err on the side of caution. But I do personally know people who have traveled at 1.5 years. And it really honestly depends on, you making yourself look like a great candidate. Do you have all of, some great experience, write about, the ECMOs that you've been on, or, the units that you've floated to, or the special procedures that you guys have done. So as long as you make your profile look, as souped up as you can from all of your great experience, it shouldn't be hard at all. I was a first-time traveler, and I only had a year and 3 months of my specialty, so I was able to find a job. Okay. Ashely, are you back?
Maybe. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you. Okay, that's fine.
Okay. I'm on my phone now, so we'll give that a shot.
Apologies.
Thanks to everyone for being our trial run here. I promise I'm usually better than this.
We promise we're all usually better. It's okay though. It's one of those days. Someone asked, how long does the onboarding process typically take?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it can vary based on facility to facility. And the reason behind that is each hospital has their own compliance checklist, is what it's called. So they've all got their list of things that they need from us to clear you to be able to start. The other thing that we have to take into account is that they also have a compliance deadline. And so that is the date by which our team has to turn in everything in order for the facility to review it and give you the green light to start. So that means resulted background screen, resulted drug test, resulted lab work, if that's something that needs to be done. And that deadline is usually at least a week prior to your start date. So our compliance team will take a look and see what the facility requires versus what their deadline is in order to help us pick a start date that we know is going to give us time for that process to be complete. I would say on average, we see probably a 3 to 4 week process. But some of them might be shorter, especially in the case of crisis positions, and others might take a little extra time, just depending on what the lift is on the nurse's end and on our compliance team's end in order to meet all those items on the checklist.
Okay. We did have a couple of questions about being a new travel nurse, and they were wondering if the process took, how long the process would take, and if it's harder to get a job. And I told them no, but I just wanted to float it to you as well.
Yeah, I think the compliance process should still be about the same. Other nurses might only need to go in for a drug screen, but our team is awesome at trying to find one clinic location that's able to do everything for you. So instead of going to one clinic for your drug screen and going somewhere else for a physical, somewhere else for a fit test, they'll try and find one place that'll do everything. So from that standpoint, it should be pretty similar across the board. From the job search standpoint, meaning the time you put in your first request to the time you land that first assignment, that can take a little bit more patience. There are some facilities that do want previous travel experience on some level. Some might want just one successfully completed assignment. Some might want a year of travel experience. So I always just encourage new travelers to be patient. And, the best situation in my mind is when somebody wants to travel, but they haven't put in notice at their old job yet. So they can really just be patient and find the right fit and then start their journey off on a good note instead of a stressful one where they're scrambling to find something because they need to work.
Is there room to negotiate for a higher pay package?
So in some agencies, you will find that. Again, Trusted is a big believer in transparency and being upfront about everything. So what you're seeing on the match page is what will be the pay package for the assignment. If the facility raises their rates, like if they're going into a period where things are in really high demand, then there might be a higher pay package available. But our kind of view on that is that any agency that's able to instantly increase your pay package at the drop of a hat probably wasn't giving you everything that was yours to begin with. And that's just something that we believe strongly. Our travelers are the ones at the bedside doing all the hard work. And so you guys should be getting the most that you possibly can from that pay package.
should a first-time traveler travel with trusted versus using a recruiter? We are biased, guys.
Heavily biased. I will preface this by saying I never traveled with trusted. The timing just didn't work out with where I wanted to go and the jobs that we had available. So my entire travel experience was with recruiters, and I had good recruiters. I had good relationships with them. It wasn't a terrible experience for me. That being said, there's definite pros and cons on both sides of it. Having seen things from this side, there are definitely experiences that I look back on and I'm like, I feel like it would have been really nice to have a nurse in my corner to walk me through this, to help give me a heads up on what to expect, to help be that sounding board for this stressful situation. And so really, I don't think it's bad to go one way or the other. You might hear other people say differently. But I think the support that Trusted offers is just different and it's unique, and nobody gets a nurse like a nurse. So if I have to give a solid answer, I would say probably travel with Trusted. But again, that comes with a heavy amount of bias.
I will also plus one that I also never travel with trusted. And as I said before, I traveled for 5 years. But now that I'm on this side, as she said, like it is different. But what we also want to caution you all to do is do whatever is best for you. Okay. We never want to sway you or push our bias on you, because at the end of the day, you have to do what is best for you. And if a recruiter based company is best for you and you like the way that things go, then that's where you should go. You know what I mean? We would never tell you to do, anything that isn't of your best interest. Okay. That being said, how is licensing across state lines handled? Not all states are part of the compact.
Which in an ideal world, they will be. So most states post-COVID are going back to requiring a license in each state that you're wanting to work. There are some states and facilities where that licensure process is faster, and so the hospital will accept your submission without having that license in hand. But there's others where the process takes longer, and ultimately it's just up to the hospital as far as what they'll accept. So our match pages should say whether the license is required to submit or if you can get it while it's in process. But we also have a great resource. It's a licensure guide, and it breaks down the requirements and the process for each state, and also has links to the Board of Nursing websites. So that's an awesome resource if you're curious, like how long does it take to get a license in Minnesota and how much is that going to cost me? That's all broken down on our website, again, with links to go and actually apply if you want to move forward with that.
And also just so you guys are aware, some of these questions are travel nurse questions, as well as things that we do have resources for. So what I will let you know is that when we email this recording out for you guys, we'll also link some resources for you. We have a lot of blogs, we have past events that answer some of these questions as well. So you guys can feel that you are making the best decisions for yourself, okay? So just be looking out for that email, and we'll make sure to link the blogs and things like that, okay? Ashely, you still there? Oh no. I might butcher your name. I'm so sorry. Dionia Greer. Is this through Trusted that you're having problems with the exam? If so, I can personally message you to so we can figure that out. Okay. You good?
I think.
We have a couple of questions about people who have been away from bedside for a long time, like how they should complete their profile, as well as like what the process is for that if they've been away from bedside for a bit.
Yeah, so there is the option to enter in non-clinical experience. So if you're working in some setting that isn't a hospital or clinic or bedside, then you're able to add your experience that way. There's also, if the website notices that there's a gap between your experience, it'll prompt you to fill in what was going on. So you can enter in that you were looking for work, family things, whatever that case might be, just to kind of paint the picture of what was happening during that time. I will say that there are a lot of positions that are going to be looking for 1 to 2 years of recent experience, and generally the partners that we work with are going to qualify or are going to define recent as
She froze again. Sorry, guys. While she's coming back, I can answer the NICU nurse question. I was a PICU NICU and CVICU nurse on my assignment. And I found it to be amazing. I went to NYU and it was a great experience. Like just getting outside of your comfort zone and just like, experiencing the different things that happen in different regions, different patient populations and things like that. I always err people on the side of caution just to make sure, you use your resources when you're on the unit. Make sure that the charge nurse and the people around you, the supplies and things like that, because that'll make for your assignment to just be so much better. And for these other questions, we'll get to them. I'm sorry.
I have no words.
All
right, where are we at? I'm ready.
I think you were in the middle of talking about the gap year.
Okay. So if your profile has a gap in your employment, it'll prompt you to fill in what you were up to, whether you were looking for work, addressing family things, traveling, that sort of thing. But if you've been away from the bedside for a while, I was just saying, usually our partners are looking for a year or two of recent experience in that specialty. And so if it's been more than a year, we might have trouble finding a placement for you just because they are looking for that recent experience and they're looking for references usually within the last year as well. So my recommendation, if you have been away for a while, is unfortunately probably to find a staff position to get that experience more recent on your profile and your resume, and then to apply for travel positions.
Do we provide reimbursements for certifications?
If it's a certification that is not typically required for your specialty, then yes. So for example, when I was traveling as a NICU nurse, if I needed PALS for an assignment, I would be reimbursed for my PALS certification because it was required. But BLS is required for any nurse who wants to practice anywhere. And so that's not something that we reimburse for. So it's kind of a case-by-case basis, just depending on your specialty and what the job is requiring.
Is there usually 1 day of orientation on a new assignment? That differs.
That's super variable.
Yeah, some days you'll get 1, some days you'll get 2, some places you'll get a full 3. It really depends on the facility.
Yeah, we always, especially on your first assignment though, encourage you that if you feel like you haven't gotten a comprehensive orientation, obviously it's not going to be as in-depth as a staff position, but if you don't know like where the med room is and you're just not feeling comfortable with their policies, you can certainly ask for another day with a preceptor. And that's something that we have seen accommodated. So if you're feeling uncomfortable, let us know and we'll see how we can get creative to make things work for you.
Sorry, I was trying to understand this question. Someone asked about our benefits. What are our benefits?
Yeah, so we offer health, vision, and dental, and those are all available to you on day 1 of your assignment. So if you are looking for specifics, I don't know them offhand. I know all of our plans are through Aetna, but we'd be happy to email you that information. You can either text your nurse advocate, or you can text the main line, or you can reach out via our online chat feature, and our team will get you that info.
What about reimbursements required licensing in the state if starting with an EMSA licensing?
Yes. So if you're starting under emergency licensing, we will reimburse for that actual state license.
Sorry, I was trying to, so if no housing allowance, then you pay out of pocket up front and the pay package allows for that extra expense. Is that a question or a response? I can't tell, so sorry. Oh, will you be made aware if you're not chosen for a assignment?
Yeah, so typically if you're chosen, if you move along, we get an email from our vendor partners that let us.
She froze again. Apologies, guys. I'm not sure where she is, but yes, you will be notified via email. They will let our team know, and then our team will let you know, usually through email. And then also on our platform, it'll also update as well. Oh, okay. Sorry, Nancy. Apologies.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but we didn't hear what you said.
I have
just said that
literally
they
never
would
had this
email.
many issues.
It's okay. I
But
just said
yes.
that they would notify us, and then we would notify them on the platform and via email usually, right?
Yep.
In a shorter
So
form.
the job will show up as unavailable if you're looking at the jobs that you've requested, and then you'll get an email from us when it closes. Those are sent out automatically based on when our system updates. So you might see that email come through faster than I see that a job has closed. But if you need more context, just let us know and we're happy to provide that for you.
Okay, so there was a question. If no housing allowance, then you would pay out of pocket up front, and then the pay package allows for that extra expense.
Correct. So we don't have like company housing like a lot of agencies offer. We've just found that, again, that's not a one size fits all thing. Nurses are looking for really different things when they're looking for their housing. So we only offer the option for the housing stipend if you qualify for that. So your housing would be not reimbursed, but your housing cost would come from that stipend.
Okay. Do you have the resource for the licensing? That was, I think Ella might have put that on up above. I'll reshare it for you though, Kim G. She was asking about, does anyone know which or if any states are still under EMSA? And I didn't know if you.
Yeah, we're seeing some California facilities that are still accepting the emergency licensing. And I think there might be some in New York as well. But ultimately, it is up to the hospital. So even if the state still has their emergency licensure in effect, the hospital might still require you to have that actual state license. So again, it's going to be kind of a case by case basis, but I would say California and New York are pretty much the only ones that are still hanging on to that emergency licensure right now.
I've always heard about the bill rate. Is that something Trusted shares with their nurses transparently?
It is not. And the reason behind that is that's negotiated at a high level between our vendor partners and the facilities. And just out of respect for those relationships and actually in accordance with our contracts to be able to work with them, we're not allowed to share the bill rate for all of them. And so just to keep things straight, it's our rule across the board that we don't share the bill rate.
What are the qualifications for the housing stipend?
So that is a hot button topic in the world of travel nursing. We do have a couple of great articles on our blog regarding travel nurse taxes and stipends and what is a tax home. There's a set of 3 criteria that are put in place by the IRS, and there's no hard and fast rule. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we are going to refer you to a tax professional because everybody's tax situations are very different. And I know, speaking for myself, I'm like terrified of being on the wrong side of the IRS. So I would never want to lead you astray. But ultimately, we leave that determination up to you. And so if you're letting us know that you do qualify for those stipends, then we will pay them. If you tell us that you don't, then your pay package becomes the local pay package. So kind of a loaded answer there, but there are a lot of great resources out there on tax homes and what it means and if you qualify.
And I will be sure to link one of those blog posts for you to also look at, okay? Is there a possibility to learn a new skill set like ECMO while on or off travel?
That is going to be dependent on the facility that you're at. I've definitely seen nurses across various specialties that are trained to different skill sets, whether it's an an OR nurse with a different kind of procedure or an ICU nurse training to ECMO. Ultimately, it's just going to be up to the facility with what they feel comfortable assigning to their travelers and training their travelers on.
Personal experience, I have learned new skill sets, not ECMO, but if you do have previous ECMO experience, occasionally if the floor is really busy or currently like in COVID situations, you just kind of have to do what you have to do. Yes, there are availabilities, but like Ashely said, it depends on where you are and things like that. But also I will just let you know, I was a PICU nurse when I first started traveling and my first assignment was in the CVICU. So for learning experience and learning new skills, I learned, how to take back kids from, the OR and things like that for CVICU purposes. So just to kind of give you a glimpse of it is possible. So we don't ever want to say no, but it definitely does depend on, each facility. If an assignment is 3 weeks long, do you need to submit for another assignment on week 1 of current assignment to have an assignment in 4 weeks? Oh, she's basically just trying to see if she doesn't have to, so she can have consecutive assignments and not go weeks without an assignment. So basically, normally our contracts are 13 weeks long. There have been shorter for 8 weeks, but normally we usually see 13 weeks. And like we said previously, the earlier you apply, the better. We can kind of have wiggle room on, with the MSPs to see if you need to start later, a little bit earlier or whatever. But that's kind of on a case-by-case basis on what your assignment currently is. But definitely apply sooner better so you can know if your assignment is going to renew or if you are going to need to, look out for another one, if that answers your question. Do you automatically so you just don't automatically qualify for the stipend? Like I would be traveling from Milwaukee elsewhere. So it's depending upon my tax bracket basically, but follow up with to tax prepare. Yes. Oh, I think Ashely, you know how for when you have your assignment and it's considered a travel assignment and people just automatically assume that you'll get the travel stipend. I think that's what I think she might be asking. Maybe just clarify your question. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to understand so we can properly answer it, Ashely. And also Nancy, if you need a better answer than what I gave, you can also type in again. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to get your questions answered in the proper way, but I'm just not understanding, text sometimes you can't really understand stuff.
I think I'm back.
Yeah, you're here. You're
Sweet.
fine. Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry about that. Oh, okay. I think I kind of see what she's saying. So, a lot of times you'll hear out in the world, the 45, 50-mile radius situation. That is not altogether true. But what you'll have to do is if you are traveling to your assignment, then yes, you should qualify. I.e., I was coming from North Carolina. I don't live in New York. So I automatically would get the stipend because I'm not living in New York. I'm not from there. But that's why we say also err on the side of caution, talk to your tax preparer. But if that's what you mean by just getting the stipend, yes, if you're not traveling in Milwaukee and you're going to Idaho, I don't know, then yes, you should, if that's what you were asking. I know you can't see these questions. Sorry, Ashely. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I answered it. Sorry, Ashely. She was asking, so for your weekly pay, you get paid for working and then you get a housing stipend, housing, food, expenses. Do you have to qualify for that or do you automatically get it? So what I was saying, but you can probably answer it much more eloquently. Ashely? Okay, well, she's not there. So I'm glad I answered that question. Sorry, guys, for all the technical difficulties. Does anybody have any more questions? I can try to attempt to answer them myself. Like I said, I was a traveler, so if you guys ever want to reach out or anything and have just like general travel nurse questions, I got you. And if there weren't any, and these questions weren't answered, you can also, when we send out the feedback on the email, you just let us know like, hey, I really would like this question answered. And we will get back to you and we'll email you back. Okay. We appreciate you guys all hanging in there through this event. I know that it was a lot of back and forth and things like that. But we will be having these consecutively. So in the next the next month. So just if you didn't get your questions answered or you want to hop back on because you thought about some other ones, we will be sending out another email and prayerfully next time we will not have as many technical difficulties. But like I said, we appreciate you guys so much for everything that you could do. And if you ever need anything, you can always reach out to any of us. Okay. But I hope you guys, oh, there's another question. Do we reimburse for temporary? I will email that answer to you, Danielle. I don't want to answer it incorrectly. We do reimburse for licenses, yes, but I'm not sure about temporary ones, okay? But I will definitely write your email down and get back that answer, okay? But I hope you guys have a wonderful night and thank you guys so much for coming, okay?